So, Monica, you'll have to show the slides if you want me to talk on any of the slides here. Otherwise, I can just go ahead and start talking because that's something that I do very well is I can talk. And so, well, as you all probably know, I'm Atul, and I will be presenting a few different topics in Block 2. One of them is what we call Ayurveda and the Mind, or Manasavan. And there are a lot of very interesting perspectives on Ayurveda. It turns out that this is actually very slightly controversial. Some people, like us, fully embrace the idea that Ayurveda is really a study of how consciousness is involved in health. And there are actually a lot of things to be offered in Ayurveda, getting a perspective on some of the mental disorders and afflictions that create problems in today's society in particular. So we'll talk about the concept of counseling in Ayurveda. And we're also still in the process of updating some of our material, and also want to be able to draw more parallels with modern cognitive therapies.
Atul, we couldn't hear you there. There's some.
So as I was saying, Ayurveda has a lot to offer in terms of the study of consciousness, mind, and as we move forward, we are continuing to update our curriculum and want to also be able to draw parallels with many of these concepts as they're understood in modern psychology. So we're actually working with one psychologist, and we're continuing to update our curriculum and our presentations. So we want to give you a perspective on mind and consciousness as seen in Ayurveda, the consequences of karma, because this is all tied up with consciousness. Consciousness has an effect on health. They're all related. Health and the mind are related. And we also want to talk about the disorders that afflict the mind according to Ayurvedic texts. Herbs that can be helpful with concepts of sattva, rajas, and tamas, and how the tridoshas are affected. So these are some of the things that I will be covering with you.
Pretty done, but it's being done by Christy, aromatherapy by Olga. And this one, it's not necessary to attend the classes. It's Wednesday mornings. And I'm going to hand over to Dr. Kirti. Kirti, go on if you want to talk about Kriya Sharir.
Thank you, Monica ji. Can everyone hear me? Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Kirti Pingre, and I will be teaching you Ayurvedic Kriya Sharir and Nidana. So let me first congratulate you all for completing the block 1 and for starting with the block 2. I'm sure that you all are very excited for the block 2, and I will give you just overall idea about the block 2. So previously in block 1 we have studied what is Ayurveda, how it is derived. We have also seen the theory of Panchamahabhutas. We have seen the theory of Panchamahabhutas and Manas Gunas, other 20 Gunas. Apart from this, we have also studied Tridoshas and their subtypes in detail. I think now everyone can hear me. Increase the volume. So we have studied in block 1 the Tridoshas, their subtypes in detail, and we also seen the couple of herbs that will pacify these imbalanced Tridoshas. So this knowledge is very basic and it forms our foundation for the block 2. Now we are using this knowledge, or by applying this knowledge we will study further, that is our block 2. So in Ayurvedic Kriya Sharir, we will study 7 dhatus, their upadhatus, malas. We will also study different types of srotasas. The srotasas are very closely related to the modern sciences. Basically, we will explore the anatomy and physiology of the body from the Ayurvedic point of view. So, we will study how Tridoshas causes problems in these dhatus and srotasas. We will also study some of the herbs that will be helpful for specific doshas as well as to the dhatus. We will get some information about the various diseases of these dhatus. So, I think you all might be know the 7 dhatus are Rasa, Rakta, Mausa, Meda, Asti, Majja, Shukra. So I just want you to, I will suggest you to read these dhatus before the lecture, so you will feel very familiar with the terms or the words. So after completing this, we will go one step ahead in block 2. So after this, we will start with the Nidana point. In Nidana, we will gather all this information from block 1 and as well as from the Kriya Sharir part, and we will study different types of diseases. We will see the causative factors, premonitory signs and symptoms, and the disease pathogenesis in detail. So we will also see the 6 stages of diseases in detail. So after this, comes the Chikitsa part. This is actually this block 2, the Kriya Sharir part, is very different from the block 1. So sometimes you may find it little confusing or maybe complicated. So please feel free to ask questions either by forums or by emails. And at some point during this Kriya Sharir, we will ask you to take case studies of the patients or the persons with different problems. And we will discuss, before this, we will give you the case paper and we will discuss how to fill it, how to take a case, and then we will discuss all your case studies in the classroom. The another thing, if you do not understand any questions from your assignments, please feel free to ask. And now I welcome you all and wish you all the best for block 2. And now I will hand over to Dr. Monica ji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kirti. We have, like I said, I was telling Joan before you came in, we have 6 students. It's a really small group. 6 students, 5 teachers. So you're going to have so much fun. Yeah, the other block 1 we are running right now, we have I think 11 students. So it gets a little bit crowded even there. So you'll probably enjoy it. And yeah, so there's no test for Sanskrit. And so every month you have one core course running class on Sunday morning, which is 10 o'clock. And you have Wednesday morning 30-minute peripheral courses running. For example, this Saturday you're starting Ayurvedic Manasa, which is Manasic disorders. Dr. Kirti is doing Manasic disorders. I don't know which one she's picked up, some nervous disorders that, you know, she's the boss. And it'll be followed by certain herbs that are amazing for those particular Manasic disorders. And then the next Saturday onwards, Atul's going to get started with philosophical perspective of Ayurveda and Manasic disorders. And on Wednesday morning, which is August 22nd, he will start Vedic astrology, which is so amazing. Okay, let's quickly go to. So the way it's done is the Ayurvedic Kriya Sharir is a little bit built up on Ayurveda and the mind. So once you know Ayurveda and the mind, and we are done with the psychological disorders, because of course we treat the psychological disorders before we can treat the physiological disorders. And then we move to Ayurvedic anatomy and physiology. And the presentations that Dr. Kirti does are very, very, very comprehensive. She's really started a new thing. She started comparing the Western model to the Ayurvedic model that students have really, really liked. And, you know, she's a tough master when it comes to assignments. And then comes Ayurvedic nutrition. Joan, you've attended so many workshops with us. You've already met Dr. Sahana. I think Kirti you haven't met. And Aparna, when you come here, you're going to meet Kirti and Sahana. So I'm looking forward to having you here. the Ayurvedic nutrition is based on Ayurveda Kriya Sharir. So everything that you learn in the Ayurvedic physiology, specifically we talk about diseases of Rasa Dhatu, Rakta Dhatu, and Mamsa Dhatu. Those particular, within the scope of a course, the nutrition is focused on those particular dhatus only. So we talk about the rasas, Virya, Vipak, recipes and diet plan for particular imbalances of only these 3 particular dhatus. Joan, do you remember what these dhatus are, or is it all gone? And then we have a very comprehensive list. Now we have a clinical dietitian who's also Ayurveda wellness practitioner, Olga. And she's, so I don't know, Aparna, if I'm saying Ras, Virya, Vipak, if it makes sense, but Ras means the taste, Virya is the potency, and Vipak is the post-digestive taste. So really we expect you to, memorize action of fruits, vegetables, spices, grains, legumes, beverages, at least 3 or 5 of each. And their particular affinity for doshas, dhatus, seasons, and so on. So this becomes really, really comprehensive. And this is being done by Olga, myself, and of course Kirti is this fantastic, Marathi cook, and with so many nice things. So is Dr. Sahana. So you have all these recipes flowing in. Oh, here we have Ayurvedic herbs, and I'm going to hand over to Dr. Sahana if you want to talk about herbs.
Hello, can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. It feels so good to be back in the college. We had 1 month break. So now we are back starting with a new block 2 session. So in the herbology module, we'll be talking about in detail. In the block 1, we just touched a few herbs while we were talking about the Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, which are good for the Vata dosha, which are good for Pitta, just like that. It's very, very superficial. In the block 2, we are going to deal with these herbs a little bit in detail, the concepts of herbs for different ailments, the herbs which are good for each individual dhatus. There are 7 dhatus, which herb is good for each of those dhatus, and even the doshas and other things. Before we start the herbs which are good for each the disease or dhatus, we'll study the herb. That is to study the rasa. That's what Monica ji was talking. Study the rasa, guna, virya, vipaka, and prabhava. These 6 things we should know about each herb, and based on these, if you know the taste of a herb, if you know the properties of an herb, if you know the potency of an herb, it is easy to decide for which dosha or which dhatu it is good for. So that is the basic line of studying the herbs. So we'll take some important drugs. It is not possible to cover all the herbs because there are more than 500 herbs described in Ayurveda. So it's in the scope of this herbology module, it's not possible to cover all the herbs, but we'll set a path for studying the herbs. We'll say how to study each and every herb. If you know the path to progress, then you can study the herbs on your own. So first we'll deal with that, the rasa, guna, virya, vipaka, and what are they, how they are important to decide their action. We'll deal about that. Then we'll talk about the herbs suitable for different ailments, the herbs suitable for various dhatus and for doshas. Then the next important thing we'll be talking about is the dosages. So the dosage is a very, very important concept, we all know. So it is just like the salt in the cooking. If the salt is little too less, it doesn't give the good taste, and if the salt is little too much, it spoils the taste. Similarly, the herbs dispensed in the particular dosage will act exactly the way we want. If the dosage is less, it will not show the proper action, or if the dosage is more, it might show some adverse effects. So it is very important to know the dosage. So we'll talk about the dosage for different herbs. Then we'll talk about the time and mode of administration. So Ayurveda believes that the time when we administer the herbs is very important for its action. For example, if the pranamaha srota dushti is there, like for suppose the disease is like khasa, shwasa, the time of administration is like it's not set in like morning, afternoon, evening. They say it is muhur, that is the medicine should be taken repeatedly like that. There are 11 different times of administration of the herbs. We'll talk about that, and also the mode of administration, in what mode it has to be administered, either in the mode of decoction or in the mode of tablet or in the leha form, that's jam preparation like that. So that is also very important for the action of the herb. Then we'll talk about the herb delivery, how it happens in the body, how the intaken medicine will act inside the body. We'll talk about that. And then the different preparations, the Ayurvedic formulations. It can be in a powder form, that's called as churnam, or it can be a ghee preparation, that's called grutha, or the jam preparation, which is called as the lehyam, or the herbal tincture, the infusions, the decoctions, the kashaya preparation, the fanta, like that. We'll talk about the various Ayurvedic formulations, and this particular section, the forms of herbs, the powder, churna, etc. This includes the practicum too. In the class, we'll talk about how to prepare these preparations, and we'll post some assignments, make your own ghee preparation and upload it online, and tell us for what condition it is good for, like that. So this particular last section of the Ayurvedic herbology will include both the practicum and the theory portion. So you will learn to make your own Ayurvedic formulations when you study this section of the herbology. That's what basically we cover in the Ayurvedic herbology. And as Monica ji said, there's an on-site workshop on October 6th and 7th. So if you attend that workshop, we'll be showing how to make your own different formulations, and how to make some of these simple Ayurvedic preparations, like for example maybe churnas, or we might demonstrate how to make your own ghees, or how to make your own jam preparations, like that. So by the end of this module, if you know the herb very well by its taste, and that's a rasa guna virya vipaka, and you know how to make the formulations, you will be able to make your own preparations for your clients. So that's the ultimate goal of this herbology module. So I think I have a good sound knowledge of the herbs by the end of this course.
Thank you, Dr. Sahana. Wonderful. Yeah, so basically, on the core courses, the only one we are left now with is Panchakarma. And Panchakarma, we actually have a 2.5 day workshop that we'll do. I'm thinking about actually doing a student retreat and hiring an entire building to do a student retreat if somebody wants to come and actually do Panchakarma with us. But it'll depend on if we actually get people who are interested in doing Panchakarma, then we'll do that. Otherwise, we'll do it in a classroom setting. Because I thought if we actually do it in a real setting where you see where people are staying with us and they're getting treatments, and that would actually be better. So that would be in December, and that's the most popular workshop for some reason, because students always want to get some Panchakarma done. And of course, Panchakarma is people get their relatives themselves. For students, it's free and a very small minimal amount, and for their relatives, again, very small minimal amount. So we always want guinea pigs for Panchakarma workshop. I'm sure we'll get a lot this time. I think that's pretty much it. You have classes every Sunday morning for 2 hours, Wednesday 30 minutes. We have 1 week off, 2 weeks off in December. The class will start, here we go. Anyway, the classes are starting this Saturday and finished March 15th, 2013. The workshop, if you miss it, the herbology workshop, it's going to happen in January 2013 again. And from January 2013, you'll actually have an internship facility, hopefully. And assignments are fun this time. You have your regular assignments, online quizzes, online text, uploading of PDFs. Even though we have a time allocated for the assignments, even if you do it late, that's okay. We're pretty flexible. Forum discussions are also an assignment. So, you know, everybody loves the forum discussion. We actually rate it as well. One thing is, before we didn't have a place for required reading, so we're actually making it mandatory to do some required reading. The book is Textbook of Ayurveda Part 2 and Textbook of Ayurveda Case Studies. The bad news is, before we had 10 case studies and 10 follow-ups. So it was like 20, but the 25 case studies, you don't do it at the end. Right from Ayurvedic anatomy, you do 1 case study, then you do 2 case studies in nutrition, you do 2 case studies in herbology, you do 2 case studies in Nidan, then you do 2 case studies in Panchakarma. So by the time you reach the end, you've already completed 10, so you're just left with 10 more and 5 follow-ups. So it's not as bad as it looks. Because we have done it a few times now, this will be the 7th batch that we are running for advanced courses, and this is the 4th Ayurveda Wellness Practitioner course. So a lot of teething problems have been sorted out. And of course, one thing we have is a peer review this time, which is fun. So research paper is actually peer reviewed. And I've started a blog for the students, an internal blog as well. So that's pretty much it. Any questions?